Hi there. Just in the corner of the shop we've got the 6 volumes that I've restored so far. Pickwick, Nickleby and Martin Chuzzlewit. Next up, 2 volumes of The Old Curiosity Shop combined with reprinted pieces. I'll tell you more about that a little bit later. Okay, so this is a strange one. Volume 1, look at that. So it's a real mess there. What to do? What I've decided to try, whether this succeeds or not, is to retain the mull. Okay, I'm going to clean it out and then try and re-glue here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to split it at the back because this is just being held on by the tapes, or actually it's strings here. I'm going to split it here and then reinforce from the inside but retain the original join on the front end paper. Okay, so that's the job that I'm going to try. First of all, here we go. Yeah, well that came away very easily. Okay, the backing paper seems to be almost intact here, so I will reuse this. I'll re-glue the sections that are loose, but I'm going to clean out the front and then try and save this. While I'm getting on with this repair, let me tell you about this picture which I took when I was in London recently. Just wandering around central London, I found this hoarding which is in front of a building completely covered in wraps. And it says, "Restoring the Old Curiosity Shop." You can see a picture of it as it used to be. The Old Curiosity Shop is believed to be the oldest shop in London. Built in 1567, it survived the Great Fire in 1666. Today the building is Grade 2 listed to mark its association with Dickens's famous work, The Old Curiosity Shop. Now, the building was there in Dickens's day. It wasn't called the Old Curiosity Shop, but it may well have inspired him, and subsequently it was called the Old Curiosity Shop, and you used to be able to go in there and buy old books and other old artifacts. Currently it's having a new roof fitted and other essential repairs. Hopefully in the future it will once again be an old curiosity shop. Look out for it in a year or two's time. Actually, this is not too bad. This is not too bad. Corners, see there are bits missing from the corners. Just glue them down. I'll do that. Little bits missing here as well. Do the corners. While I'm doing this very basic repair job, I'll tell you a bit about the history of the Old Curiosity Shop. In its day, it was one of Dickens's most popular novels, famous for its pathetic scene with the prolonged death of Little Nell, the story of the girl and her unnamed grandfather. Why he doesn't have a name, I really don't know. As they travel around the country and have all sorts of realistic and fairy tale adventures. Yeah, the publication history is interesting. Dickens had produced Pickwick Papers, Oliver Twist, Nicholas Nickleby in very quick succession. He was working frantically hard and editing Bentley's Miscellany, and then he took on, in some senses, an even more ambitious project to produce a weekly magazine, the contents of which he alone would write. So this was Master Humphrey's Clock, And the idea was that this would be stories told by an old man, sort of fireside tales. And so there was to be this framing device of Master Humphrey, and amongst the tales that he would tell would be what became the Old Curiosity Shop. In fact, that's pretty much how it starts. But Dickens soon realised that this format wasn't ideal for his purposes. It was extremely demanding on his time and effort to be able to come up with weekly instalments, but he did it. You know, this was Dickens working frantically hard as a young man, still establishing himself, and this is 1841-2, and he produced altogether 88 weekly numbers of the Old Curiosity Shop, followed by Barnaby Rudge. So within the space of 2 years, less than 2 years, and 88 weeks, he knocked out 2 almost full-length novels. I say almost full-length because Old Curiosity Shop doesn't completely fill 2 volumes like the earlier ones in the series. It's a bit shorter, which is why it's supplemented with other material. I've just turned to Poor Man's Tale, Poor Relation's Story. This is The Begging Letter Writer. And these are reprinted pieces from Household Words. I'm just going to find this is volume 2, and this is a much worse state than volume 1. I'll have a lot to do. Here we go. This is the start of reprinted pieces, and this is bibliographically very significant because this, in the library edition, and of course this is rejigged from the unillustrated library edition. The library edition, illustrated or not, was the first place where these were reprinted in book form. So they'd only appeared in Household Words until then, and anonymously, because very, very little in Household Words actually bears the name of an author. Yeah, it was conducted by Charles Dickens, but people didn't know who wrote what. And so to have this series of reprinted pieces in the Old Curiosity Shop is actually new material. It's first edition first edition in book form of all these items, which include On Duty with Inspector Field, you know, these early stories about the detective police, okay, Scotland Yard, and new illustrations had to be prepared. Here you are, look, there's one that's slipped out. And when we get on to volume 2, I'll tell you more about the illustrations, because these had to be prepared specially for this edition. I've decided to do a 2-part repair at the top of the spine. So I've prepared this. Here I'm going to put a strip of cloth inside at the top of the spine, just along here, and then I'm going to put another strip along the side of the spine. It's fiddly, but it's actually easier than to try and create one sort of L-shaped piece and fit that in. So 2-part repair coming up. Top of the spine re-glued. Okay, so that just leaves the side now. I'll make a piece for that and fit that in. Here's my carefully shaped piece of cloth to insert. I've already checked that it fits. So the thing to do is put some glue into the slot where it's going to go. Top and edge of spine redone. Right, I've got this tiny piece of cloth in place. Right, now it's in place, I'm going to glue it. And that's how it's meant to be done. Invisible mending. This mend's got to dry out a little bit more along the edge of the spine. Bit too much glue there, but it'll dry out a bit more. Volume 1, done.